In a land where fierce beasts roamed and only the bravest men dared to hunt, one man, a humble hunter, outsmarted a monster that no warrior could defeat. But how did this simple man save the king from a terrifying beast when the kingdom's greatest warriors had failed? Let's find out. Long ago, in the kingdom of Udu, there lived a king named Nkem. King Nkem was wise and just, and his people loved him. But one day, a terrible monster emerged from the forbidden forest, a dark and dangerous place no man dared enter. This monster, half lion, half serpent, with fiery eyes and the strength of 10 elephants, began to terrorize the kingdom. It burned villages, ate livestock, and soon threatened the very walls of the king's palace. The king sent his strongest warriors and bravest men to defeat the beast, but none returned. Day after day, the kingdom grew more fearful, and the people began to lose hope. In a small village at the edge of the kingdom lived a hunter named Azu. Azu was not the strongest or the fastest hunter, but he was known for his great wisdom and his deep knowledge of the land and its creatures. When he heard of the monster terrorizing the kingdom, he went to the palace and offered his help. The king looked at the humble hunter with doubt. "Azu, my greatest warriors have failed. What makes you think you can defeat this beast?" Azu bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, strength alone cannot defeat all enemies. Sometimes, it takes wisdom and patience. I do not ask for warriors to accompany me. Let me go alone, and I will return with a plan." The king, though unsure, had heard of Azu's cleverness and agreed to let him try. "Go then, wise hunter, and may the spirits of our ancestors guide you." Azu took only his bow, his spear, and a small bag of herbs and left for the forbidden forest. As he walked deeper into the woods, the trees grew taller, and the air colder. The cries of strange animals echoed around him, but Azu was not afraid. He had spent many years learning the ways of the forest, and he knew that every creature had a weakness. He just had to find the monsters. For 2 days, Azu wandered through the forest, watching and listening. On the 3rd day, he found the monster. It was more terrible than the stories had described. Its lion's body was covered in scales, and its long serpent's tail thrashed wildly as it roared into the sky. It guarded a cave deep in the heart of the forest. Azu did not approach. Instead, he climbed a tall tree and watched the beast from above. For hours, he studied its movements. He noticed that every night, the monster would leave the cave for water and return just before dawn. Its scales shone brightly in the moonlight, and Azu could see that they were as hard as iron. No spear or arrow could pierce them, but then Azu noticed something else. Whenever the monster drank from the river, it would lower its guard. Its soft underbelly, the only part not covered by scales, was exposed for just a moment. Azu knew this was his chance. That night, he prepared a special trap. He took the herbs from his bag, plants known to make animals drowsy, and scattered them along the monster's path to the river. Then, he covered his body in mud and leaves to hide his scent and lay in wait near the riverbank. As the moon climbed high in the sky, the monster came lumbering down to drink. It walked over the herbs, and slowly, its steps became heavy, its eyes droopy. Azu watched patiently from the shadows. When the monster bent down to drink, its belly exposed, Azu sprang into action. He took the herbs from his bag, plants known to make animals drowsy, and scattered them along the monster's path to the river. Then, he covered his body in mud and leaves to hide his scent and lay in wait near the riverbank. As the moon climbed high in the sky, the monster came lumbering down to drink. It walked over the herbs, and slowly, its eyes droopy. Azu watched patiently from the shadows. When the monster bent down to drink, its belly exposed, Azu sprang into action. He aimed his spear, coated in a powerful poison made from the herbs, and hurled it with all his strength. The spear struck the monster's underbelly, and the beast let out a deafening roar. It tried to rise, but the poison quickly spread through its body. The monster staggered, then fell to the ground with a heavy thud. Azu waited a moment to be sure the beast was dead before approaching it. With the monster defeated, Azu cut off one of its giant claws as proof. When he arrived to the palace, the people were amazed. They cheered and celebrated his bravery, and the news quickly reached King Kem. The king couldn't believe his eyes when Azu presented the monster's claw. "How did you, a simple hunter, do what my greatest warriors could not?" The king asked, astonished. Azu bowed humbly and said, "Your Majesty, sometimes the answer is not in strength but in wisdom." The beast was mighty, but it had a weakness, and patience helped me find it. King Kem, impressed by Azu's courage and wisdom, rewarded him with great riches and made him the chief of all hunters in the land. From that day on, the kingdom of Urdu was safe, and the people never forgot the story of the wise hunter who saved them all. Wisdom and patience can defeat even the greatest of dangers, where brute strength